Representative Chris Goodlander pressed Secretary Hegseth on issues that touch the very core of our national security and the responsibilities of leadership: the federal budget, audits, technological competitiveness, and cyber operations. These aren't abstract debates. They directly affect how the United States protects its citizens, maintains global influence, and ensures that taxpayer dollars are spent effectively.
And thank you to our witnesses for being here today. We have one really important thing in common. We all swore an oath to this great document, the United States Constitution. We swore that oath when we joined the military, and we swore that oath when we began the jobs that we're holding now. And I want to begin at the beginning of this document and at the beginning of your testimony, Mr. Hegseth. In the first sentence of your testimony, you said you're here today to testify about the fiscal year 2026 budget for the Department of Defense. You're required under law to submit this budget to the Congress, because we've got the power of the purse after all, by no later than the first Monday in February. Here we are in the second Thursday in June. We don't have your budget, as the chairman, the ranking member, and many of my colleagues on this committee have pointed out. You have testified that you want to be accountable for every dollar, every taxpayer dollar, and where it goes. We can't do our job without your budget. When can we expect your budget, Mr. Hegseth?
Well, as I also acknowledged in my opening remarks, in the first year of an administration, it does take more
Mr.
time,
Hegseth,
especially
please
while
reclaiming
you're
my time.
addressing the priorities of the previous administration.
When can we expect your budget?
You have details of it already, and you will have it very soon.
Can we expect the budget before the end of the month?
I would refer to Bryn, who's working that, but I know there are a great deal of detail that is already with the committee.
Okay, let the record reflect that you haven't given us a commitment, but you're required by law to do so. You're also required by law to pass an audit. That's been true since the 1990s. The Department of Defense is the only department that has continually failed an audit. You've committed to passing an audit in 2028, but we expect you to pass an audit this year, and hope you will work with us to achieve that goal. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for your testimony and what you've said about the threats that we face as the United States, threats from China, Russia, and Iran, and I want to ask briefly questions about each. Mr. Chairman, you've said that the Chinese Communist Party is advancing an unprecedented military modernization effort with cutting-edge technologies, including artificial intelligence. Do you agree that the United States military must have more powerful AI capabilities than China?
Well, ma'am, first, thank you also for your service in the Navy. I think LLMs and AI really underpinning all of our command and control capabilities is now and will be in the future a key and essential tool for decision making.
Thank you. I agree that American AI dominance is extremely important.
Yes,
Mr. Hegseth, should American AI dominance be up for negotiation with China in any trade talks that are underway?
As the chairman said, we're very focused on AI dominance. It's central to maintaining our cutting edge, and we're doing that.
Good. Well, I hope, will you commit to telling the president not to sacrifice American AI dominance in any of his negotiations with the Chinese?
The president is not surrendering any of our dominance to the Chinese.
Good. I'll take that as a yes, that you'll be advocating for that. Thank you very much. I hope you'll also, you've both spoken to the importance of competition in the defense industrial base. I agree with that deeply. I'd point out that 40% of small businesses have left our defense industrial base supply chain in the past decade, and trade wars that have caused unprecedented uncertainty are going to drive more small businesses out of business. And that's something I hope we can work together to try to prevent, because it's very real in my home state of New Hampshire. Mr. Hegseth, did you order a pause in offensive cyber operations against Russia?
I know the story you're referring to, and it's false. We said it then, and I'll say it now.
So it is your testimony that you never ordered a pause in offensive cyber operations against Russia?
We did not.
Okay, let the record reflect that, and we'll be following up on that. I'm going to skip Iran because there's been a lot said in this hearing that has given me grave concern. One of the things that's been said in this hearing, Mr. Hegseth, was I want to give you the opportunity to correct the record and make clear that you will abide by, that you will obey a ruling of the United States Supreme Court.
I don't believe we have any cases pending before the Supreme Court right now.
I want to ask you, will you abide by a ruling, by a decision of the United States Supreme Court if it is issued and you're asked to do so?
What I've said, and I'll repeat, is that district courts should not set the foreign policy of the United States of America.
Mr. Hegseth, this is a fundamental principle of the United States Constitution.
Gentlelady's time's expired.
Let's start with the budget. Hegseth was questioned about the Department of Defense's fiscal year 2026 budget, which, by law, is supposed to be submitted to Congress by early February. Here we are in June, and the committee still hasn't received a full submission. This delay matters. The budget isn't just numbers on a page, it's the blueprint for our national defense. Without timely transparency, Congress cannot exercise its constitutional power of the purse or ensure that taxpayer dollars are allocated responsibly. Goodlander's questioning highlighted a simple but critical point. Accountability and timeliness aren't bureaucratic niceties, they're fundamental to democracy and effective governance. Then there's the issue of audits. The Department of Defense has famously never passed a full financial audit. Hegseth has committed to passing one in 2028, but the committee reminded him that this is not optional. Passing an audit should happen sooner. For Democrats, this isn't about politics, it's about stewardship. Every dollar spent by the Pentagon is funded by American families, and failing audits for decades undermines both fiscal responsibility and public trust. Goodlander also dove into the strategic threats facing the United States. She pressed Hegseth on AI capabilities in response to China's rapid military modernization. The message was clear: America must remain technologically dominant. This isn't a partisan talking point, it's a strategic imperative. The U.S. military's competitive edge depends on harnessing artificial intelligence and other emerging technologies responsibly, while protecting intellectual property and ensuring that no diplomatic deal undercuts American security. By asking whether U.S. AI dominance should ever be negotiable with China, Goodlander emphasized the need for clarity, foresight, and leadership that prioritizes national security over short-term political optics. Hegseth's assurances were vague, but the question itself framed the debate for viewers. Technological dominance is not negotiable when it comes to defending freedom. Another critical part of her questioning addressed the defense industrial base. Over the last decade, roughly 40% of small businesses that supply the Pentagon have exited the system. That has real consequences. Small businesses drive innovation, reduce costs, and provide agility to U.S. forces. Trade wars, policy uncertainty, and bureaucratic inertia have threatened these companies. By highlighting this issue, Goodlander reminded the public that defense policy isn't just about big weapons or troop movements, it's about sustaining an ecosystem that keeps the United States strong, resilient, and innovative. Perhaps the most attention-grabbing part of the exchange was the question about offensive cyber operations against Russia. Goodlander asked directly if Hegseth had ordered a pause in these operations. Cyber operations are a critical part of modern warfare, and the American public deserves transparency about their execution. Hegseth's denial was brief, but Goodlander's insistence on clarity underscores the larger point. Oversight is not optional in a democracy. Decisions in cyberspace can prevent or escalate conflicts, and Congress must have an accurate record of what the executive branch is doing in these high-stakes domains. Finally, Goodlander raised an issue of constitutional importance: the commitment to abide by Supreme Court rulings. Hegseth's response, questioning whether district courts should influence foreign policy, may seem technical, but it touches a foundational principle: the rule of law. Democratic oversight isn't just about budgets or cyber operations. It's about ensuring that everyone, including senior officials, respect the institutions and legal frameworks that hold power accountable. The broader lesson here is clear. Effective national security isn't just about spending more money or deploying advanced technology. It's about transparency, accountability, strategic foresight, and respect for democratic institutions. Leaders must answer tough questions, meet deadlines, uphold the law, and make sure taxpayer dollars are used effectively. Goodlander's line of questioning is a reminder that oversight is the backbone of democracy and that even the most powerful officials are accountable to the people.